Thank you for tuning in to the Untouchable Jessica Joan podcast. I'm Jessica Joan, and this is the safe space where we talk about the real stuff that no one's really talking about. So we're going to be diving into courage, clarity, and getting over shit. Because I know you got shit, we all got shit, and we need to get over it. So thank you for joining me on this ride. Here we go. Rose petals. My heart lays naked on the end of my nightstand, beating loudly, puttering softly. She's on the edge. The weight of love and the lift of hope keep her from tumbling onto the koa wood floorboards. She wonders if the ground will feel like home, back to roots, back to nature. Because the unpredictable breeze of air can be like a wavering slap to the face. Unpredictability is magic wrapped in the painful unknown. Trust doesn't come easy when life lessons were learned with a firm hand. Remaining sweet and tender can leave you bruised and without breath. It can leave you bleeding. Because most have forgotten how to love themselves, let alone me. So what do you do when you're the only one who remembers to love? That's when you douse yourself in your own sweet nectar. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Untouchable Jessica Joan podcast. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I cannot even believe that we are on this episode because I talked about it before, but I had so much anxiety around this and so scared with this relaunch. And here we are. And I just want to share with you that this is so nice. It has been such an incredible gift for me to have this space with you all, to feel like I can be safe and share my truth, which has been such an incredible journey to even be here. If you guys only knew the number of years of knowing I would be speaking publicly about stuff and all of the work and the dauntingness that I experienced before getting to here and to feel this joy, you probably wouldn't even believe it. But anyways, that is the segue into today's episode, which is allowing yourself to receive. So important. That has been such a huge lesson for me because I've been a person who is I'm going to do it all myself. I don't have to rely on anyone. People are going to let me down, waiting for the other shoe to drop, and just in a perpetual state of anxiety, restlessness, and fear. And it's a really shitty place to be in. Although I will say very high functioning at getting shit done. I am a planner. If I didn't have my week at a glance, it would probably be a disaster. Just kidding, not anymore. But, it has given me these tools to be able to accelerate under these conditions. Being really stressed out. No, I'm just kidding, but also not kidding. But now I'm in this space where I'm allowing myself to receive, and it has just been so beautiful. Everything that you guys have been giving to me by just showing up and allowing myself to receive all of that has been so incredible. I didn't even think this was going to happen. Maybe I had a thought and a vision, but to actually be here now and to just speak my truth is beyond anything that I could have ever asked for. I talked about this before, where even in my acting and in being an artist and living my life, I was never really able to just share my truth. I was always afraid I was going to be judged, or it's super complicated, it's super heavy. And now here I am, allowing myself to receive as I allow myself to give. It's a beautiful thing. But it is a really important message because, I'm a giver. I'm a very generous person. I love to give. My joy comes from helping others. It's really true. If someone if I could just impart either some wisdom or a tip or give someone some food or help someone out, it's almost a little selfish because I feel so good in the giving. But on the flip side, receiving used to be so hard for me. I know there's some people out there where it's like kind of hard to even like take a compliment, and we got to dig deep on where does that come from? Like, why can one give but not receive? And that's a deep thing. I have a lot of incredible friends and people in my life that are so beautiful, so generous, and so giving. But then, sometimes they'll come up to me and tell me about like they're having a hard time receiving. And so a lot of that is a block. Sometimes it's a fear that, it comes from a place of a lack of self-love. A lot of these issues or insecurities or fears come from that place, because if you're coming from a place of fully loving yourself and fully confident, you're not going to be afraid to receive. You're going to realize that you deserve that you are worthy of receiving things. And like I said before, I would just run around town and just be doing everything on my own. I would never ask for help. It would make me feel really uncomfortable or even embarrassed. And, I'd just be in my own little like bubble of shame, or just, work myself to the core and like burn at both ends before dare allowing someone to help me. And the thing is, it's really messed up, because if you love to give, but you don't allow someone else to give to you, you are robbing them of that joy and that opportunity for them to be in a receiving state, in a giving state by, giving to you. So there's one way of looking at it. But, in allowing yourself to receive, and even with giving, which I'm going to dive deeper into that in a different episode, but there's a balance of things. You can't just give, and not allow yourself to receive. There's this beautiful analogy that I love, which is you can't pour into a cup from an empty cup. And then you shouldn't even be pouring from your reserves. It should be from your overflow. So how does one get this overflow? By allowing yourself to receive. There's a beautiful humility and a beautiful humbleness that comes from allowing yourself to receive. And also it has to do with trust. Like what I realize right now in this moment actually is just I didn't trust anyone to be able to care for me. I didn't trust that they could care for me. I didn't trust that they would care for me. And then there's also, I didn't trust that they could care for me better than I could care for myself, which is, that's this whole other conversation. But when you allow yourself to receive, and even just receive from the universe, like sometimes we're working so hard trying to accomplish something and pushing, and we're so stuck in the space of how we think that we need it to be, and like this narrow-mindedness, that we're not even allowing ourselves to receive the gifts of the universe. Like the universe is literally always trying to help you, but it's helping you based on what you're asking for it, which, ask yourself the ability to allow yourself to receive, because that's also important too, is just creating this openness and diving deep into, like, what is it that you want? Because you can't get what you want and even allow yourself to receive properly if you don't know what you want. Like, clarity is so important. Like, we're going to dive deeper into that, but you need to get clear. And, like, with allowing yourself to receive, you have to know within yourself that you deserve it, that you deserve to be happy, that you deserve to have a partner that's going to love you and cherish you and adore you like you're supposed to, or that you're going to get this job where you're fulfilled living in your purpose. Like, receive that. And if you're wanting these things but you're not working on the practice of allowing yourself to receive, you're never going to get that. You can think that you can will things or try super hard in this, this external aspect, but the reality is your external is created from your internal. And so that's the work that needs to be done. It's all like reprogramming. because we've been brought up in a society and in our experiences, whether a family or teacher or friends or whatever, telling all this stuff that's not true about who we are. You know, you could have had someone say, you're stupid, you're not smart, or you're ugly. And then, you know, so you think like maybe you can't have a partner that you're really attracted to, or like that you're not going to get these things. Like, you know, I have a friend who mentioned that, you know, he used to walk down and see all these beautiful homes and say like, oh, wow, that's a really nice house for someone else. And we did a deep dive into this. And it's like, he's like, how sad is that? Like, I didn't think, like, not even in a like a super sad kind of way, but I didn't even think that house would be for me. And so now he's been doing his own work, and, you know, that's a whole other thing. But, you know, how can we receive if we don't believe that we deserve these things? And that's the whole underneath of it all. And that's why whenever I'm talking to anyone, I tell them, like, we have to reprogram ourselves. Unless you had incredible parents and had no outside influences telling you all the right things of how to live life, life doesn't have, you know, a manual to teach you that, let alone to receive. Actually, society has told us that, like, we're inadequate and we need all of these things. So we're like chasing all these externals instead of getting to the root of what do I want? And then believing that you can. So, and allowing yourself to receive is one of the greatest gifts you could ever give yourself. Like, that is part of the root of self-love. And I mean, it's hard. It's one of the hardest things that you'll have to do. Okay, maybe not for everyone. Maybe some people, like, they love to receive. But for those of you that it's more of a struggle, but it comes from this place, like I said, of this unworthiness. So when you realize that you do deserve it and that you're worth it, your whole life will change. That's when you'll actually get all of the blessings that have been waiting for you. Like, all the things that you want, like what you want wants you. What you're looking for is looking for you. But you have to stop with the self-doubt, with the insecurity, with the fear, with the victim mentality. Like, all of that stuff is just a human drama that's keeping you farther away from what you actually want. And so when you set that intention and have that clarity and create that belief in your heart, that's when the miracles happen. So with allowing yourself to receive, it is perfect balance. It is the perfect yin and yang. It's like having a conversation with someone. It's a give and take. You're sharing, you're listening, you're sharing, you're listening. But if you can't receive, then you can't listen. You can't take that in. And then what is this conversation? It's going to fall short. So think of that as you're applying that to your life. Like, people want to give. So allow yourself to receive that, because otherwise you're doing a disservice to all of the others around you. And so, you know, I don't want to get repetitive with this episode. There's a lot to mull over here and to really understand and ask yourself the questions of, what is stopping me from receiving? Like, why don't I feel like I deserve it? Why am I behaving certain ways? Why am I putting like others before myself, or giving to the point of depletion, but never receiving? So I'm going to leave you with that. And for those of us out there, or my friends out there that have trouble receiving, I just want to leave you with a couple nuggets. So I want you to just sit down with yourself. I want you to go back to a childhood memory where you had a moment where someone gave you something, whether it was for your birthday or they just gave you a flower, whatever it is. And I want you to get to that memory and feel that feeling. How did it feel to receive, to be seen, whatever it is, and really sit with that and hold that energy, so that way as you're going about life, you can hold on to that and cultivate that in everything you do. So that's my little nugget. That's my little invitation for you. Thank you for being on this journey with me, and I'll see you real soon.